Hey there, good Sunday morning. The time is 10:03 a.m. on your Sunday, the 22nd of February. We've got a lot to talk about with this system. It is already forming to our south right now with the blizzard. It's a nor'easter that's going to create a blizzard across the region here. So we're going to dive right into it. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have. I'll make sure, hopefully, all of my comments will pop up here, but I'll have my phone here just in case I miss anything. I'm just going to make sure that I can see everything that you are. But let's go ahead and dive right in because we've got a lot to talk about with this system. This is already starting to put itself together and be a pretty strong one here for us. Again, I'm just making sure that I can see all of your comments. Let me make sure that we're good. All right, but here's this system that's putting itself together right now. It's that low pressure. Let's go ahead and zoom in. It's forming off the Outer Banks of North Carolina. A lot of moisture to work with, a lot of energy to work with as well. But you'll notice got quite a bit of moisture out ahead of this system. So it's already been snowing a little bit over parts of the state. We have seen a dusting here in West Hartford. I've seen our cameras in Waterbury, in downtown Hartford, in New Haven, seeing a little bit of snow out there this morning. That's definitely likely for areas along and to the west of 91 as we go through the day here. But, okay, looks like we've got a couple of, we're starting to see some comments come in, which is great. Out there, I'm just trying to make sure. Oh, I heard myself on there too. That's funny. Okay, so make sure my comments are good. But yeah, you can already see there's quite a bit of snow already coming in from this, or right out ahead of this system. Let's go ahead and zoom in. We've seen a couple of flurries, a dusting really at best here with this one. So we're just kind of watching. That's out ahead of the system. The bulk of it doesn't come until after about 4 p.m. So let me just make sure again that I am seeing everything that I need to. Okay. All right, cool. We're good. Okay, great. So right now, it's pretty cloudy, but you could see a couple of flurries as we go through the day. I'm telling everybody, I've been saying it all morning, but if you have anything to do today, any errands to run, whatever it might be, you've still got the day, but it's 4 p.m. and later when it's really going to ramp up from south to north here. By 6, 7 p.m., we are seeing it all across the state. So that's when we really need to be inside and let crews take over and do their jobs. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. So we've got some questions. Somebody said in Vermont, it's snowing a little bit right now. That would make sense. Light snow happening right now in Sandy Hook. That makes sense as well with the radar. Good morning to everybody. It's been snowing on and off in Winstead. Yeah, kind of just seen some light snow out there. Again, we're in just a very active weather pattern. This is still from the system that we saw on Friday, parts of Wednesday as well. And now we have a nor'easter setting up to provide a blizzard. So what are we thinking about for timing? What are we thinking about for totals? What kind of snow can we expect? All of you are asking those questions. Let's answer them for you. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and show you this graphic because it shows temperatures and future snowfall. As for totals, we are still looking at 10 to 20 inches across the state with a couple of localized areas nearing that 2-foot mark, which is 24 inches. That's a lot of snow. And with wind, we're likely going to see drifts as well. So just brace yourself for a lot. As for the type of snow, it's mostly going to be that wet, heavy stuff for the most part. And it's still light enough to be flown around in the wind. But in terms of removal purposes, it's the wet, heavy stuff. And I posted a video about this a little bit earlier, but There are a couple of reasons why this system is going to be worse than what we saw 4 weeks ago, if you remember, because we're seeing similar, if not even a little bit higher, of totals. But it's not the fluffy stuff that's easy to remove. It's the wet, heavy stuff. And the wind makes this a huge factor. It's going to be tough for about 24 hours, roughly today at 4 p.m. through Monday at 4 p.m. So if you can stay inside during that entire period, that is definitely what is best. As for the type of snow that we're talking about here, like we said, the wet, heavy stuff, let's go ahead and walk you through it. Another question I got earlier was, how can it be snowing when temperatures are at like 35, 36 degrees? And what we've got here is, it's called the DGZ, the Dendrite Growth Zone. So we look at everything, several thousand feet up in the sky. If our dendrite growth zone is super large, it's going to lead to those big flakes, and they're going to be able to survive temperatures at the surface at 37 degrees. They're just going to be big enough to handle that. So, and that's another reason why I think totals are going to be so large. We've got a lot to work with. Everything is setting up perfectly for this system to really produce a lot of snow here. So, again, light snow is possible from now until about 4 p.m. 4 p.m. that's when I would want to be inside, and I don't want to move anywhere else for the rest of the night and the day, okay? Because this system will move in from the south. So a start time for Stamford, Bridgeport, New Haven, Chester, Groton, Stonington, start time between 4 and 5 p.m. Up towards Danbury, Waterbury, Meriden, Middletown, Norwich, that start time will be between 5 and 6 p.m. Hartford, closing in on about 6 p.m. or so. Same with Willimantic, New Milford, Torrington. And then the northern part of the state up towards Windsor Lock, Stafford, Colebrook, by about 7 p.m. is when we see all of this snow across the state. So it really starts between 4 and 7 p.m. from south to north. And again, I would not want to be on the roads as this starts up. It's lighter. It's not going to be like last time where it starts out super heavy. It's going to be steady to start out, but very, very quickly by 8, 9 p.m., I am expecting whiteout conditions for a lot of the state here, and it's only going to get worse. We're going to watch as those winds ramp up through tonight and into Monday morning. The worst impacts will be felt tomorrow morning. We've had a lot of schools call off work. If you do not have to travel, do not do so for Monday morning. And I hate hyping things up. It's like actually something that really bothers me a lot, but this is a storm that deserves it, because this is a storm that really, it packs a lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of moisture, very strong winds to be with us. Looking at any more of these comments here. Oh, somebody's sad because tomorrow's their birthday, had lunch plans. Well, happy early birthday. I'm sorry that you're getting a blizzard, I would have liked a Dairy Queen blizzard, not one of these, right? So let's see what else. The real question again, should I cancel my Elvis? Oh, I remember this question from yesterday. The Elvis tickets at 4 p.m. in Plainville at the AMC. For Plainville, that's right on the line. If you don't feel comfortable and you feel like you're going to be worrying about it the whole time, I would cancel it, because in Plainville specifically, I'd want to be inside by about 5, 6 p.m. So I can't make that call for you, but if you know that you're someone that is going to be worried about it all during the show, then it might just be best to cancel it and go another time. I do remember this question yesterday. I got sidetracked, so I appreciate it. Another question. Can the storm stall? That's a great question. We're not really expecting that with this one. It looks like it gets pushed out of here pretty quickly. So that's a good thing. So, but it's about 24 hours that we are experiencing these conditions, about 4 p.m. today to 4 p.m. tomorrow. And I want to also kind of walk you through the winds as well, but let me walk you through the snow. Really, really difficult conditions tomorrow morning from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. really looks extremely, extremely rough. It's still going to be pretty snowy and very windy as we go through tomorrow. It doesn't really die down until the afternoon hours here, and then pretty quickly moves on out of here. So we are expecting to be dry by Monday night, but just know just about all of tomorrow is going to be tough. The heaviest of that snow, the strongest of the winds coming in the morning for Monday, then just gradually drying out. How much snow? Let's talk about totals, because it's a lot. It is a lot. We've got 10 to 20 inches on the board here, which is just as much, if not more, snow than we saw 4 weeks ago. So a lot of snow on the way here for us. I think a lot of areas are going to see that higher end, closer to that 20-inch mark. But we kept 10 just in case we see a couple of dry slots move in, especially like for the River Valley, Connecticut River Valley there. But for the most part, I think there's a good bet for 1.5 feet, maybe even some of us nearing 2 feet. So, but 10 to 20 is a good bet for across majority of the state. But we are expecting some heavy bands to form and potentially produce up to 2 feet. It's just really difficult to pinpoint exactly where that would be. If I had to make a guess, it'd be the better chance would be in eastern Connecticut, southeastern Connecticut, up to 2 feet. But at the end of the day, 20 inches, 24 inches, still a lot. And the wind is likely going to be a factor creating some drifts. Either way, it's going to be a big system for us. Let's go ahead and see. So there's your snow map that people are asking for. What time? Oh, somebody was asking if it was fluffy snow, how much would it be? A lot. If it was, it'd be over 3 feet. But the wet snow, it takes it down a little bit, but it's still a very, very energetic storm. That's going to produce a lot of snow. What are the odds this storm takes on an eastern trajectory and totals are much lower than predicted? I think they're pretty low. I think we have a very, very good shot of hitting all of these totals in Connecticut. If they lower anywhere, it would be in the northwestern side, so up towards like Salisbury, Lakeville, those areas there. But I mean, it would still be 6 to 12 inches, so still a lot of snow. But I don't see at this point, now that the storm has formed, it's forming right now, we're expecting it to really move up the East Coast. So I do still expect big impacts from this system now that it's putting itself together. I'm seeing predictions of 28 inches in Stonington. If that's coming from like a random weather app, that can be, those are tough. But I mean, that's not too far off from 2 feet. There's always a chance that something can overperform. It all depends on where those heavy bands roll up. So for instance, we could have 28 inches in Stonington and then in Mystic, 18. I mean, there's genuinely, it could be that big of a difference. But at the end of the day, 18 inches is still a lot. And so is 28. So, let's see. When is it going to start? Between 4 and 7 p.m. from south to north. So if you're up in Windsor Locks, Enfield, you've gotten until a little bit closer to 7 p.m. But if you are at the shoreline, hunker down by 4. I think everybody should probably just be in where they're going to ride this out by 4 p.m. and then cruise just, even if, what changed my perspective on driving in the snow is, even if you think you can do it, the crews need as much room as they can. And you know, you might think you're a great driver in the snow, but the crews, it helps them if you're not out and about. And that's all it's for. I mean, emergency crews have to be out, right? So if we don't have to, then we shouldn't be, right? Let's see. Has the governor discussed closing the roads? I have not heard anything on that, but I'll look for sure. If it were me, as a meteorologist, I would not want to be on the roads from about 4 p.m. today to 4 p.m. tomorrow. So 24-hour period. That's kind of when I expect the worst of these conditions to be. Because not only is the snow a big deal, the wind is also, I mean, insane. We're talking 40 to 50 mile an hour winds persistently. I mean, these are gusts that we could be seeing for a 12 to 24-hour period. That is a lot. That's going to create some issues. Unfortunately, scattered power outages are going to be likely an issue, but I will say Eversource has been talking with us, and they're ready. They've got their staff ready to help out. There's even a chance for 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts, especially at the shoreline here. When is the worst of the storm going to happen? That's going to be from about 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I'll go ahead and show you that timeline as well, because I do have a look at the intensity of the snow, and that is going to be paired with the strongest winds as well. So really, I mean, it gets tough out there after about 9 p.m., some heavy snow by then, but then the wind arrives after midnight. So really through, I would say, to be safe, midnight to 9 a.m. Midnight to 9 a.m. is probably the best bet there. So a nice little 9-hour period where it's going to be really, really tough. What's the deal with Wednesday and Thursday? Is there another round coming? We do have another chance for snow and even some rain. Would not nearly be as impactful as this. But there's going to be another chance for snow on Wednesday. I'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end, but would not be nearly as impactful as this one. Not even close. Just a couple inches at best. Can I show the wind gusts expected? Absolutely. I showed that a little bit ago just with that, but I'll show you kind of what one of our models is saying for wind gusts. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Tomorrow morning, over 50 miles an hour, especially at the shoreline. That's tough. That is tough. And with heavy snow falling, whiteout conditions, I mean, the visibility is going to be less than a quarter, an eighth mile ahead of you. I mean, that you can't see. That's another thing with this system. The roads are not going to be great, but I mean, you might not be able to see a car's length in front of you. That's just tough out there. And I mean, that's why I think this storm is going to be worse than the last one. Also, this formed very quickly. We didn't know about this 5-6 days ago, or at least we didn't know how bad it was going to be, right? Whereas the storm a month ago, we had a 5-6 day leeway, right? So big deal here. People were asking about thunder snow a little bit. It's definitely possible. Wouldn't surprise me with how dynamic this system is, especially in eastern Connecticut. The closest to the core of this system would not surprise me at all. And if you hear it, don't be alarmed. And that would signal some heavy snow. But I believe last time we thought we heard thunder snow, but it was actually a power surge, which is not good either. So I mean, again, I don't like hyping things up. I hate it so much. But this one deserves it. This is a storm that deserves it. And again, it might sound like we're trying to scare you. I'm really not. I just want you to be as prepared as you can be. My mantra is be prepared for the worst, hope for the best. That's what I always do. And, when we talk about your storm preparedness, right? Having water bottles, having your phones charged, flashlights, food, right? You never know when your power is going to go out, and you never know for how long. Right? We never want it to happen, but it's not guaranteed, right? So just make sure that you're prepared in case. And best case scenario is none of that happens, but you were prepared, So it's just things you don't think about. It's things that you really just don't think about until they actually happen, right? And with a storm producing this much snow, we might be snowed in for a little bit. So it's something to pay attention to for sure. We've got more questions. You think it's possible that they call a state of emergency? I do. I really do. New Jersey and I think parts of New York have already done it. So we'll see. I'm not in charge of that. I don't know what the protocol is for that, but I mean, neighboring states are doing it. So it might be something, might be possible. How much snow? 10 to 20 inches across the board. I know that's a large range, but at this point, I mean, it's impactful. Everybody's going to get impactful snow. I could even see a couple of areas up to 2 feet, which is a big deal. And those are, let me show you the snow map again. It's 10 to 20 across the state, but it is virtually impossible to figure out exactly where those heavy bands of snow are going to fall. So we could see, like I said before, we could see one town at 16 inches and the next town over at 24. That's a big difference. And in a small area, it's practically impossible to figure out exactly where that's going to be. So it's large amounts, a foot and a half, maybe even up to 2 in some areas for sure. When will it be bad to drive? Really, I would not want to be on the roads between 4 p.m. today and 4 p.m. tomorrow. The worst of it between about midnight and 9 a.m., 10 a.m. or so. This is Ben. Ben asked why I'm surprised that Northern Connecticut's not under a blizzard warning. I'm kind of surprised as well. However, I have chatted with the National Weather Service, and they are very much considering adding more of Connecticut into the blizzard warning. So thank you for reminding me to talk about that. The National Weather Service, and here I can even check with the latest that they've said. A little bit ago, they were suggesting or thinking about extending that blizzard warning. The reason why it's not in Northern Connecticut and it's just for the area like Southern Connecticut is because they have the best chance to see those higher winds for a very long period of time where it's up to 50, 60 miles an hour. Whereas Northern Connecticut, 40 to 50, that's still above the threshold for a blizzard warning. A blizzard warning is 35 miles an hour or higher. So what I've been saying all morning is even if you're not in a blizzard warning, you're going to feel blizzard-like conditions. That's what we're seeing here. Will the snow drift a lot with the winds or will it be too heavy? I think the snow is going to be heavy, but I think the winds are just going to be that strong. I think they're going to be able to do it. I think we're going to get a lot of drifts. I really do. And that's going to make removal hard as well. So while we're tracking the wind and the snow for 24 hours, I think the impacts are going to stick around for a while. So that's another reason why this storm is so big, why it's so important. And I know a lot has changed in such a short amount of time, and I wish it didn't. I really do. But we've got to take this one seriously. I said this a lot yesterday, but never underestimate the power of a nor'easter. And this one is going to pack quite a punch. So we've got to really, really pay attention to it for sure. Think I can be stuck at work if I leave around 11 p.m. tonight. It's going to be tough. 11 p.m. I would say go really, really slow. But if you can't get out of the parking lot, then just stay put. That's kind of where we're at here as well. I think a lot of us are going to stay the night at the station just because we don't want to chance it. It's just too tough. And if we don't have to be on the roads, why would we? But be safe. Flight cancellations, there have been so many flight cancellations, and I would assume many more to come. So yeah, definitely a big factor. I would expect flight cancellations through this evening, tonight, and tomorrow. People are asking about cancellations for school on Tuesday. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of cancellations on Tuesday. I really do. Winds are going to be calmer then, but that's going to be the day for us to pick up the pieces. And with this much snow and, with the wind everywhere, I think it's going to be difficult. And power outages are always an issue. So those are hard to predict. But if I were a gambling person, I would bet on no school Monday and Tuesday. That would be my guess. So yay for the kids, I guess, right? You don't get snow days in the real world. How many inches of snow do we get? 10. We're looking at 10 to 20 across the state, and I could see a couple areas near that 2-foot mark, which is 24 inches. What about Monday around 2 p.m.? Monday around 2 p.m. we get a little bit better, but let me step you through the winds here because I think that's the big play here because snow is going to wind down around 2 p.m. But if we're still seeing winds over 50 miles an hour, that's going to create whiteout conditions. Did you know, this is an interesting fact, did you know that a blizzard warning does not have to have snow falling to be issued? That's because as long as we have snow blowing around, it's going to create whiteout conditions with that wind. So it's all about the wind here. So that's what we have to watch. So let's go ahead and let's track that wind for you. Do you think the expected snow will be wet, heavy snow? I do. I think it's going to be, especially think about the snowpack that's on the ground already. That's all that it's wet, right? It has melted so much. So removal is going to be tough. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm just thinking about it and I'm like, oh man, but we've got to do it for sure. take a break though. It's not as easy as the light fluffy stuff we saw 4 weeks ago that you can just use your leaf blower, snow blower. This is going to take a little bit more of an effort. So let's just all make sure we're looking out for each other. So let's look at these winds here. They're really picking up into tomorrow morning. So somebody said 2 p.m. tomorrow, right? Still going to be pretty windy, talking still wind gusts 30 to 40 miles an hour. So we could still see some really low visibility. Like I said, I personally wouldn't want to be on the road between about 4 p.m. today and 4 p.m. tomorrow. But let's just kind of track it as it goes. If you don't feel safe enough to drive, don't. If you don't have to, don't. Again, you can feel comfortable driving, but we want to give the crews as much room as possible to work. The chances of a state of emergency, it's very possible. Like I said, New York and New Jersey have already issued them, and we are expecting just as much snow. So we could very well see one. Should we count on power outages? I am someone who likes to be prepared for anything. So I personally would just be ready to go. These are I'm hoping that we don't see them, obviously, but it's also just crazy how much we depend on it. We depend on electricity. We depend on it for everything. So just be prepared. And, we're letting you know now, hopefully it won't happen, but if it does, you're prepared. Your phones are charged. You've got a portable charger. You've got, food and water, just in case, right? We just want to be prepared. Best case scenario is you don't have to use them, which is great. But worst case scenario, you're prepared. So my mantra is prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That's how I think about it. And I'm going to make sure I'm prepared before I'm going to go home and come right back and just write it out here. Wind ends roughly by sorry, I had a little brain fart there. So the wind is going to slowly come to an end through Monday night. It's still going to be a little breezy at times on Tuesday. Winds up to about 20, 25 miles an hour. But we're going to see it really decrease through Monday night. So things will be much better by Monday evening, Monday night here. Let's see. Are we concerned about heavy snow and roof collapses? Unfortunately, it's always a possibility, but I will say I think a lot of places are prepared and we're prepared for things like this. So hopefully that's not something that we have to report on. I would hate to report on that because that would be terrible. But it's just something that we have to, be mindful of for sure. Yeah. Somebody was asking about the snowfall forecast. You know what? Just for funsies, why not? Let's look at what one model is showing for some snow. Because we showed you ours, 10 to 20, but if you guys want more of a model look at it, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. See this pull on up. So here's the HRRR, the HRRR, really getting tough, right? So roughly in that 10 to 20 range. Is 10 a little bit lowballing in some areas? Maybe, but the HRRR seems to think that we could see some drier air in the Connecticut River Valley. So could be down to 10. At the end of the day, 10 inches versus 20 inches is still very impactful. No matter what, you're going to have to make adjustments and plans either way. So I'm pretty confident in the 10 to 20. I could see a couple areas near 24, which is 2 feet. But I like what we have so far. So yeah. So that's one model. Let's see if we can find another one. Why not? So this one's going a little bit higher up in northeastern Connecticut. And I think if we do see those heavy bands over 20 inches, it would most likely be in the eastern part of the state there near Lake Danielson, Plainfield, Voluntown, those areas there. So, but I think 10 to 20 still a pretty good bet across the state. So I don't know if this helps you a little bit to see your town up there. Obviously, we can't put every town on there because then we wouldn't be able to see anything because it'd be too crowded. But yeah, I mean, it's impactful no matter where you go. And it's going to be hard to measure that snow because of the wind, right? We're going to see drifts. We're going to see drifts. It's just going to happen. So, what time? Let's talk about the time again because some more people are joining us. Okay. All right. So actually, let me go back to our current radar because we do actually have a couple of snow showers out there right now. We've seen, you might be walking outside right now, or you saw it this morning getting up and you're like, oh, wow, there's already some snow on my car. There's already some snow on the pavement. We did see a little bit of that this morning. Just a very dynamic setup. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a bit. Quite a lot of moisture nearby. That's this system coming together. And it's forming. Let me go ahead and grab my little pointer. Well, if I can. It's forming right there off the Outer Banks of North Carolina. That's where it's putting itself together. And it is going to basically just move right up 95 and impact us here soon. So still expecting a big one for us. So let's talk about timing a little bit more. So here's that system. There is going to be a chance for a couple of spot snow showers, pretty light as we go through the day today. And then here it comes at about 4 or 5 p.m. It really starts to move into the shoreline. Then in Hartford, likely by about 6 p.m. or so. All of us see it by 7. Heavy snow pretty quickly. And I mean, just pair the heavy snow with that strong wind. That's going to be tough. And that's what we're going to see through tonight and through tomorrow. And we'll slowly see it fall apart by the afternoon hours tomorrow. But still expect impacts even after the snow is done falling. That wind is going to stick around through all of Monday. So we're still going to see blowing snow. I don't really think we really truly get better until Monday night and into Tuesday. So that's what we're thinking right now. How do snow bands work? That is a great question. I'm trying to think of how best to visualize this. Let me grab this graphic. Somebody's also asking, will some parts of the state see fluffy snow and other parts see wetter snow? It's honestly, I think we all have a good chance to see a little bit of both. It's dependent on your temperatures and yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to snow removal, it's going to be super heavy. As it's falling, though, you might feel a dry snowflake or two. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that's kind of how I'm best describing it. Okay, so here's a look. So let's talk about snow bands. Somebody asked about that. So here's this system just completely, I mean, just erupting here, right? Getting really, really strong for us. So you see those lines, right? Those are pressure lines, and it signals how strong this system is. And typically, as this system kind of moves through the area, we'll see along those bands just a little bit more energy, if you will, and it can produce some heavy bands of snow where we've just got a little bit more of those ingredients to work with the moisture, with the energy. So that's kind of how bands work. They're very, very difficult to nail down exactly where they're going to hit, but I will say the best chance to getting up to 2 feet would be in eastern Connecticut, just closest to this large system. When should the digging out process start? Should we do the snow blowing and shoveling twice? I would honestly, I would try to get out there maybe as much as possible. I mean, like this is different than last snowstorm because that one, it was cold. I mean, the wind chills were like negative 10 degrees, right? This one's not going to be like that. It's going to be super windy though. I mean, that's not going to feel great. It's going to feel cooler than it actually is because of that wind. But if you're able to get out, you know, as every couple of hours to do it, great. The only thing is I could see it could be a little frustrating because of that wind. You know, you might clear something and then it blows right on back. That wind is going to be out of the north and northeast, so that helps you out a little bit. just to know where to kind of pile things up. Just know that that wind is coming out of the north and northeast. Do I think the governor will declare a state of emergency? I'm not in charge of that, but I'll tell you right now, New York and New Jersey already have. And we're expecting similar totals. I'm away from Southwest Connecticut until Wednesday. How bad will the cleanup be? It's probably going to be a little tough. And actually, by Wednesday, of course, we're tracking a little bit more snow. It won't be nearly as much, I promise. But it's going to be a lot. I think we're going to be digging out all of Tuesday. So I don't see school happening Monday or Tuesday, truthfully. Somebody said, thank you. I will be out there plowing. Thank you so much for your service. We really appreciate that. What's the chance of a dry slot forming somewhere in Connecticut that would cut back on accumulations? There's a small chance we could see some dry air in the Connecticut River Valley that would cut back on totals, but I don't think it cuts back that much, if that makes sense. So let me go ahead and grab actually this graphic that I just showed a minute ago. For overnight essential workers, will we be able to drive home around 8 a.m. or be stuck at work longer? First of all, thank you so much for your service. We really appreciate everything that you do. 8 a.m. is going to be tough. I would be ready to have a bag and be ready to sleep at work a little bit, stay there a little bit longer. I think travel is going to be almost impossible from about midnight to 10 a.m. tomorrow. Again, thank you so much for all that you do. The people that have to get out and work in these conditions, you guys are heroes. So, and you're helping us all out. So thank you again. But yeah, I would before you go into work, I'm doing this tomorrow. I've got a bag. I'm going to have a bag of all of my stuff, food, water, and they're taking care of us here at the station as well. Food, water, pillows, blankets, extra clothes, things to where you can just relax a little bit, sleep if you need to. Okay. If you have any other questions, let me know. Let me grab that snowfall map that I was going to show. Where'd it go? Okay. Because somebody asked, what's the chance of a dry slot forming somewhere in Connecticut, cutting back on totals? That's why we still have the 10-inch mark on there, because most of us will probably see over 14, 15, 16 inches of snow. But there is going to be a chance that we see some drier air, especially at along the Connecticut River Valley in northern Connecticut. So I could see maybe up towards like Windsor Locks, Enfield, closing in on the 10, 11, 12-inch mark. That's still a lot of snow. 10, 20 inches is a lot. It's tough. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's impactful for sure. Yeah, it's so 10, I mean, I'm confident in 10 to 20 inches across the state. You do see though, you see where Danielson is. I don't know if I have my little, nope, I can't use my arrow, but you see where Danielson is, that like lighter pink and even that white. That is the potential for 2 feet of snow. And the further east that you go, the better chance you have of it. They're really expecting that in parts of Rhode Island, parts of the Cape. So, but again, we could see a band like that form in the other parts of the state as well. So at the end of the day, it's impactful. 10 to 20 inches. I could see a couple of areas near 2 feet. I could see a couple of areas near 1 feet or one foot. Sorry, I've been awake since 2 a.m. So, okay. Question. What makes the snowstorm track to the north when northward, when it hits the ocean? Why doesn't it go straight across the south and out to sea? All depends on our setup, the jet stream, right? The jet stream is what fuels our storm track. So wherever it is set up, the system just kind of gets sucked into it and moves up towards us. So actually, let me see if I can show you the jet stream, because that would be a good visual for you. Let me update this graphic for you. Okay. So here's what's going on. So just trying to find the best way to show you. So our storm is going to be tracking Let me grab this little guy for you. Our storm is forming right here. Getting sucked up into the jet stream. So where's it going to go? Right here. It's going to move along with the jet stream. It's all about the jet. So here it goes, moving right there. That is a perfect nor'easter track for us. It's just the right amount of away to provide those really high snowfall totals, really strong winds. If it moved even a little bit further inland, that would change up stuff. It moved a little bit further out, that would really change up stuff. But the jet it's strong and it's not budging. That's why the bust potential on this is pretty low. So people are asking, could we see a shift? I don't think there's much of one. I really don't. The jet stream is very strong right where it needs to be for a perfect track of a nor'easter. So I don't think, even if we do see a tiny shift, I don't think it's enough to, it's very impactful either way with this system. So I hope that helped with an explanation. Somebody said, I'm in Winstead, Connecticut, and it started to snow around 5 and 6. Yep. Thank you for that report. We also really appreciate your reports. Let me actually put this graphic up really quickly. Most of you are probably watching on your phones, so you can't scan a QR code. But for any of your reports during this entire storm, and fun ones too, send us your fun photos, especially like Team USA and Canada. I'm actually we have the game on right here and I'm watching it. They're tied 1-1, so we'll see what happens. But like send us pictures of you guys rooting on Canada, or sorry, the US, or whatever, whoever you root for. So send us photos of you just enjoying the storm, or send us reports of what you're seeing in your area. Do I anticipate more power outages than the last storm? I definitely do. We didn't really see that many with the last storm, which was nice because it was fluffy snow and the winds were light. So that is a good thing for sure. But this time it is a little bit of a tough situation with the wind and the heavier snow that we're looking at here. Can I explain mesoscale banding? Absolutely. I mean, it's just like your snow banding. That's where those heavy bands of snow form. It's wherever we can get just a nice, it's almost like a front forming in a system where we just all of a sudden one band of that snow, and it would likely be kind of north to south oriented, would produce just really heavy snow, 3 to 4 inch per hour rates, which is incredible, absolutely insane when that does happen. And that is very possible. Those are very hard to nail down. And but if you do see them, could even hear a little bit of thunder, which is crazy. But don't mistake that for a power surge. We did that last storm, and that was tough. What's going to be the snowfall rate in Hartford? It'll get up to 2-3 inches per hour. That's a lot. That's going to pile up quickly. Crews just can't keep up with that. I know they're going to do their absolute best, but it's going to be tough. So answering that for the thunder snow, it's very possible. If you hear that, just know that heavy snow is coming your way if it's not already happening. Roads are just wet so far. Great. The bulk of the system has not arrived yet. It's not going to happen for another 6 hours. Let's see. What's the worst of the, like, when are we expecting these roads to deteriorate? What's the worst hours to drive? The worst hours to drive, truthfully, I'm telling people 4 p.m. today to 4 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be really tough out there because that's when the heavy snow is in here. Winds pick up, and sorry, I've been awake since 2 a.m. But the absolute worst of it, the heaviest of the snow with the strongest winds come between midnight and 10 a.m. So if you're out and you see, I mean, if you go outside, because you have to work. I mean, we have a lot of essential workers here, which they're amazing. We absolutely appreciate everything that you do. But if you walk outside and see, you can barely see 10 feet in front of you, that's a problem, right? just play it safe. If you have to be somewhere, give yourself plenty of extra time. Give everybody a bunch of room. Go at a snail's pace if you have to, but if you don't have to drive, that is the best idea. Somebody asked, when was the last blizzard? I know that the last blizzard warning came in 2018, so it's been quite a bit for conditions like this. And again, a blizzard, if you weren't here with us yesterday, a blizzard is 35-mile-per-hour winds, falling or blowing snow, creating visibility less than a quarter of a mile for over 3 hours. And I do think that we everybody will see that, even if you're not in the blizzard warning, which let's go ahead and check that out again. Still a blizzard warning for just southern Connecticut, but the National Weather Service was toying with the idea of adding more of the state into the blizzard warning. So either way, if you're in it or not, you're going to see blizzard-like conditions with those strong winds and that snow. Let's see. When does the wind ramp up? The wind will ramp up closer to that midnight hour tonight. And that's why I expect the worst of this, the worst of the travel, the worst of the impacts to be between midnight and 10 a.m. So you guys have a lot of great questions. I really appreciate it here. And we've already seen a little bit of snow so far this morning, right? Again, showing you this system. Yeah, I have been awake since 2 o'clock in the morning, so I we'll need a little nap, but I'll come back and be better than ever. Let's go ahead and zoom out. You can see again some of New York City seeing a couple of snowflakes right now. And then here's the big picture. That system's putting itself together right off the coast of North Carolina and Virginia. So it's going to be up here in the next, we're going to start to see really real impacts within the next about 6 hours. So you've got some time now. You might run into a couple of snowflakes as you're out and about for errands, whatever it might be. But 4 p.m. is really when I would start to hunker down for sure. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing. All the essential workers that have commented, we appreciate you so much. You guys are fantastic. Oh, I'm not Ryan. Sorry, pressing the wrong button. All the essential workers, we appreciate you. If you're a plow driver, we appreciate you so much. Stay safe. This is a tough system. This is a tough storm. 1 to even 2 feet of snow for a lot of folks, and it's going to be a tough one to ride out with the strong winds as well. You'll hear those winds through your through your walls, most likely through the windows. So just stay safe. Prepare now. Whenever we say prepare, people get scared, right? I understand that. I used to be so scared of storms, but it's better to be prepared than not. And my mantra is prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's what I always do. But if you're prepared, you're good to go. If you do have to travel for essential workers, again, we appreciate you. Just stay safe. Anytime that you can't see, just, with whiteout conditions, just pull over and let it pass, right? But we could be seeing conditions like this for a while. So if you're working an essential overnight shift or something, and you get outside tomorrow morning, and we will also, here on NBC Connecticut, we are planning on being live on TV and streaming all day long. So if you're an essential worker and tomorrow at 8 a.m. you get off work and you're like, oh, is it okay to travel? We will be on air letting you know that. So I would really encourage you to watch that and get the latest information, because I'm just telling you what it looks like will happen. But again, it depends where those heavy bands wind up. We'll be seeing kind of those gusty winds through the day as well. So again, we appreciate all of you. This is a nor'easter. People have been wanting a storm like this. You got it if you're a winter lover. But we do have to hunker down. This is a tough one. The wind makes things 25 times worse. So stay safe. Charge everything now. You never know if you'll lose power. You never know for how long. But you'd rather be prepared than not, right? So people are asking a lot about the state of emergency. I don't think there is one right now. If there is, we'll be the first to let you know on our app, and we'll keep you updated as, of course, we go through tonight and tomorrow. Like I said, to wrap it up, 4 p.m. today to 4 p.m. tomorrow, we're going to see some big issues with the snow and the wind. So stay safe. Check on your neighbors. Check on everybody. Just, we have to get through. Again, we're talking 10 to 20 inches of snow with 50-mile-per-hour winds. That's tough. But at least it's really only like a 24-hour period that we're dealing with this. And then, of course, the cleanup will probably last much longer. So thank you all again for joining. We appreciate it. Your questions were fantastic. Stay off the roads if you can. If you're an essential worker, we're going to have that live coverage for you through the entire storm. So just join on in. We're doing this really for you. Join in, and we'll keep you as updated as possible. Also, it looks like for anybody that's watching the U.S.-Canada game, it's looking good for the U.S. I think they won. Yay! That's exciting. For it looks like it. I'm waiting for them to put the score up. Where is it? Because I'm watching this right now, but it looks like it. So that's awesome. If they did, everybody's hugging. It looks like they won. I can't hear the sound because I'm doing this, but I can see it. Okay, yeah, it looks like we won. Yay! Amazing. USA won, beat Canada for the gold medal. That's awesome. Amazing. Great start to the weekend. So let's just hunker down and stay safe. Remember, snow. Oh, yep, we did officially win 2-1. US versus Canada. That's awesome. And overtime. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks to all of you who are watching that and watching us. We appreciate it. Again, if you're watching it on NBC Connecticut, we will have that live coverage for you tonight and all of tomorrow to make sure that you stay as safe as possible. And if you have any pictures, videos, reports to share with us, you can email us, shareit@nbcconnecticut.com. Thank you all so much for joining. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Stay safe.